Well, hello guys, and Merry Christmas. This is exciting time for me and Joel Massey from GoneWithTheTwins.com.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Comic Bill, and Merry Christmas, all those watching.
And if you're at home on Christmas and you're watching this, it's because you got a lot to say. So let's get into it. So, Joel, before we start this, there are gonna be some minor spoilers, I think. Not much to spoil, but I think we'll talk about some things in the movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, you might want to take off and come back and watch it later. Regardless,
we'll probably at least mention, some of the premise and some of the characters and things. So this was another one where I went into it having seen no trailers and basically no spoilers. So I knew nothing about this going in other than the title and I presumably some of the cast, but I didn't know the characters they were playing. So.
Well, hold your horses. If you guys didn't know, we've done a lot of movie reviews in the past, but since COVID, we haven't been able to. So honestly, this is our first movie review that we've been able to do in almost a year.
Well, since March.
Yeah. So it's exciting. It's cool that we got to watch it at home. I think it's interesting, the whole aspect of that. I almost feel like maybe it was a good thing we got to see it at home. Well, I got to see it for free, because of, my phone and my HBO, and I get HBO Max for free. How did you see it?
I just watched it through HBO. Yeah. I think most people are going to have to. Are you allowed to just purchase it to stream it? I think you have to use HBO, right?
Do they have Max? Yeah.
Yeah, they have exclusivity right now.
Yeah, they have for like 30 days. So yeah, again, if you guys,
I guess certain places you can also just go to the theater and see it.
Yeah, it's out. But for you guys, again, if there's if you don't want spoilers, time to go right now. So it really does kind of pick up after the original. I watched the original last night, which I think was a better movie than this one.
Yeah, I actually also got a chance to see the first one again, probably about 3 or 4 days ago, and it's actually a little more disappointing than in that regard, because the first one I had a lot of issues with. However, I think overall it was a fairly satisfying superhero movie. But the things that they did wrong in the first one, or at least the things that a lot of critics disliked, kind of the generally opinions of certain aspects of that film that people didn't like, they didn't fix those here. And in fact, I would argue that they even went worse with some of those aspects. So.
Well, let's start off with, this is Wonder Woman 1984. So of course, we're going to be brought into 1984. It kind of starts off with her as a young Amazon warrior again in a little competition. And, that I enjoyed the beginning part, kind of, the little decathlon or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, like an American Ninja Warrior thing that they did at the beginning. But I found that a little annoying too, in simply that, why is she as a little girl competing in that? Because she didn't know she had extraordinary powers until she was already an adult. So
she didn't have extraordinary powers when she was young in the first one, but in the first one she gets the permission to get trained. Okay, yeah. At a little bit younger age than she is in this one. So she's been training a little bit. She doesn't know. No one has told her she has powers or anything like that. Well, they not super god powers, but
yeah, it still seems a little weird that they have all adults competing in this decathlon type of thing, and then one little girl.
Hey,
a little unfair.
Yeah. She's special. So then they move on to 1984, and this is kind of where I have my
decades in advance, because the last film leaves off in the 40s, presumably. Right?
Yeah, so after World War I.
They make it feel like it's only been a few months because she's still pining over, the pilot that died. So,
yeah, she still has his watch and all these things.
Even decades later,
20 pictures of him.
Yeah,
her house is covered in a little crazy here, but anyway, 1984. Here's where I think they failed in regard to hitting the time mark. Is if you were going to watch Stranger Things. Let's say you watch Stranger Things, they nail that stuff. Like you really feel like you went back to the time with everything. And they just kind of like threw a little thing here and there. The criminals were inept. Like, well, why? Because in 1984, they're not as crazy. What is that?
I didn't get the nostalgia that everybody else seems to have gotten from it.
I didn't get it.
Like, so they copied some of the clothing of the time, and that's about it. And
yeah, I mean, they were in a mall. Wow, we're in a mall, and it's you see a little breakdancing scene where it's just such a small little funny joke there, and it's like, dude, if you're gonna do something better for breakdancing, or something. It was just kind of a little bit annoying there. I just wish they have such money and power, to produce these movies. Make it like a Stranger Things where I feel like I've gone back to 1984. I don't know half these people if they even were alive in 1984. I got to be honest, but most people that watch my channel are in our age. So, but I don't know. That kind of bugged me a little bit. I don't know, dude. It seemed like
that's what bugged you.
no, that I mean, we're just starting, but the problem here I think was I felt like the movie was made for kids. And they didn't go hard on it. I feel like they loosened up since number one. And they could have made it so much more entertaining. It was really, how long was that movie, Joel? I felt like I was watching it forever.
At least probably around 2.5 hours is typical for those kind of films. But I felt like the first movie had a much more mature feel to it. The themes, war and even the love and everything, it's a little more adult. And then this one, I think you're right. They just didn't attack any, more complex emotions or themes. It's very, very kid friendly, I guess. Even the minimal amounts of violence they shy away from almost.
Oh God, it's very weak.
Yeah, there's a scene where Kristen Wiig is like kicking this hobo down a street. And then she just like stops before I was like, oh yes, are they finally gonna, get kind of real? And no.
Spoiler. Oh no. So anyway, she plays Cheetah, right? Or
well, that's another thing. So the characters in the film, the people that kind of are the villains are Maxwell Lord, and I get they never call her Cheetah, but I guess that's what she's supposed to be. I'm guessing based on some quick internet search, they didn't take anything from the comics really other than the names. I don't know the origin story of Cheetah, but that certainly wasn't the origin of Maxwell Lord.
Yeah, and basically it was almost like Wishmaster. There's an artifact.
I'll tell you exactly what the premise is. Disney's Aladdin. They find a magic lamp that grants wishes, God, yeah. And then one of the people says, "Oh, I want to be the genie." And so, then they start granting wishes, and it's a little bit of that. A little bit Wishmaster, where they grant wishes, but the wish always comes with like the monkey's paw sort of thing, where there's a downside to it. So you get the wish, but then you also lose something. And I guess this is a spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, he figured out a way to get around. Oh yeah, well,
but the kind of just the overall premise. Diana Prince, Wonder Woman, she wishes that Chris Pine was back, so that's why he's in the film. And if you didn't know,
I thought it was odd that they just kind of took over some random guy and put him inside him.
Completely unnecessary. What was the point of that? Why did they have to make it weird and awkward that he's all of a sudden him inside?
Why did his soul? Yeah, why did his soul kind of go into somebody else instead of just?
I didn't understand that at all. What was the point of making it weird and awkward like that? Also, that the whole fish out of water, where he is now in the original, she was the fish out of water, where she's in his world, and so they do a lot of kind of comedy and humor with that, which kind of worked in the first one. But in this one, they do a reverse, and now he's the fish out of water. And I feel like it didn't work at all. They do a little bit of a clothing montage that I didn't think was funny. And just overall, that reversal didn't work for me at all.
Yeah, you're right. You're completely right. They completely reversed everything they did with number one with him instead. Like they did it with her too. Outfit changes and all these different things, like trying to make her fit in.
But it kind of worked in the first one. I thought those scenes were pretty humorous.
Of course.
And then this one, I didn't find the humor in it at all. And I wish they had gone. I wish they would have done some like straight up stealing some 80s movie, homages or something, just to.
Well, that's what I was hoping for. That's the thing that kind of, I was hoping to see like Back to the Future or something, or a Stranger Things type of 80s thing.
Or even just, put him in the Pretty Woman role or something, just something to kind of, get some more humor in there. And because while they're doing that whole role reversal, the whole 80s theme, might as well. I don't know. They shied away from it, but.
And then, he comes in and they're like, the love story all over again. You know what I mean? And like, she's so happy and all that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say that in the first film, I felt like the second those two characters were together, Diana Prince and Steve Trevor, I guess was Chris Pine's character. I felt like there was immediate chemistry, and it really worked. Like the scene where they're on the boat, if you remember that, where they're talking and kind of flirting, and a lot of awkward things that they say to each other, but all of it's humorous, and I felt like they had a real chemistry. In this one, I felt like all of that was just gone. I didn't feel any connection between those two characters at all anymore.
Yeah, he was definitely a sidekick. She was on a mission, and he was just dealing with whatever. But he takes on the role of like a Captain America type of person, like the perfect guy, he comes back and he's immediately thrown into another adventure where he's basically gonna die again. I mean, it's so fucking, he doesn't, well, you know what I mean. Yeah. But and I did enjoy the role of, I kept wanting to see Grogu pop up. Like I kept wanting to see Baby Yoda with the bad guy. What's his name? What a year
that guy's had. That's the thing. These are all, they got a bunch of decent actors and actresses. Pedro Pascal is great. Kristen Wiig is pretty good. It's just that I don't know. I feel like they're not given a whole lot to do. They do as best that they can with these roles, but they're overall these characters just aren't that interesting.
I see a lot of people in here that are saying they like it, and dude, it ain't.
I mean, a lot of people liked it. In fact, most critics have already given their thumbs up and say that it's such great nostalgia and a lot of fun. But for me, I just feel like this was an opportunity to take the things that they did right from the first one and enhance that. Take the things they did wrong in the first one. At least critically, so many critics said the whole ending of the first one was kind of just this convoluted CG mess where she's fighting Ares and they're just throwing each other around and all this CG nonsense. And so I thought, well, now's the chance to take that criticism and say, okay, let's do something different. And they don't. They just take that same CG garbage and even double down on it and just make it.
Yeah, and they lessen it too. Like
the whole cheetah fight at the end is just all CG and just ridiculous.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was bored to death. If they would have hit the Stranger Things mark or the Back to the Future mark with the 1984, even if it was boring, I would have enjoyed it more. And this whole just, oh God. And here's another thing. So at the end, spoiler, the bad guy is like saying, okay, I'm going to grant everyone's wishes. He's going to become super powerful, right? And he's going to get like all this power from it. Dude, if in reality, in the 1980s, between Russia and America, okay, if everyone was being granted wishes, everybody would be dead in like 2 seconds. Because there'd be like 10 people, hundreds of people. I wish all the Russians were dead. Oh, I wish all the Americans were dead. There'd be nothing left. It would be over. But these sitting there sucking everyone's wishes up for like 30 minutes. Like, dude, I don't know, man.
There's a lot of that whole conclusion that just really.
The ending was whack. The whole and so he's gone, and so she, the whole thing. Oh my God, I'm gonna start going crazy here. So
the other concept too is that Maxwell Lord, throughout the whole film, he doesn't really give a crap about his son, but then at the end he does kind of, and it's just, they're just.
I liked the where she made the airplane invisible, even though she was losing her powers. How'd she make her? That was a cool little flashback to making the invisible jet. But he gets into a fighter jet, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is how we fly it. Oh, I could fly this." Dude, you were flying like prop planes and crap.
Yeah. I was joking about that too. Where the last time he was in a plane, he had to go out front and spin the propeller to get it going, and
he's like putting all this. Oh yeah, this is the jet. Oh, this will be good. Oh yeah.
Let me find the fuel button, and these are the lights, and here we go. We can fly. I don't know a whole lot about aviation and the technology involved there, but I'm sure between the 1940s and the 1980s, there was such a significant change, at least in the way an airplane cockpit, and he's flying a jet. So I don't know. That's something that's maybe digging a little too deep and being.
Here's
a
the
little
thing, like I'm reading some comments in here, and one of the comments is, "I think you guys are so wrong. It works so much better than most Marvel movies. You guys miss so much." Okay, let me just say something. I'm not trying to offend you, but every Marvel movie I've ever seen in my life is better than this movie. 100%. And I didn't miss anything. I watched the whole thing from beginning to the last credit. And I'm telling you, I was bored to death. I was ready to say, okay, I hope that the Mandalorian turns into a badass beast, because this cheetah thing is weak and they're saving it for the big Ares finale with, the Wishmaster, right? And it was weak. She lassoed him and it was over. So I don't know, Don, if we watch the movie.
You might want to offer like what it is you found, or what is it that we missed? What was it that you liked?
Yeah, that's a good idea. What did I miss in the 2.5 hours that I sat there and prayed for a good Wonder Woman movie? Because I actually liked number one a lot. I really liked Wonder Woman, the first one, a lot.
Overall, I liked the first one too. As I said, I did have a lot of issues with it, but
I feel like they threw this movie together too. Like I feel like it was they just threw it together and they didn't think much about, okay, next one's the 80s. Well, so next we're going to see the 90s, right? We're going to see Wonder Woman in the 90s, and she's going to be grunged out. I mean, what there's going to be a battle in Seattle, okay, or whatever. I don't get it. I wish so much more for her. Look, she is the daughter of a god. She could probably kill Superman. She's probably the baddest ass superhero there is. And they just make her weak.
I think one of the big problems for me is that why was it 1984? I didn't feel like there was a reason that it had to be the 80s. They didn't sell me on the time period that much. They didn't sell me on a need to even have it in the 80s. Why couldn't have that been Wonder Woman present day? What was it simply just they needed that political and world turmoil for the wishes? I feel like you've got all that same stuff now. So it's almost as like a gimmick. Like, let's put it in the 80s and maybe throw a few little references in there, but then they didn't go big on that idea.
I feel like they filmed this movie right after they filmed Wonder Woman, the first one. Like, this movie has been waiting to come out. I know it's been pushed and pushed and pushed, right? But like, this movie's been filmed a long time ago. That's how I feel. Like, before any other craziness that could happen now. But their plan, my guess, is to keep going. Boom, 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 boom. I think they're gonna do whatever. Maybe they'll do 2000s or 90. I don't know. I just want her to be a badass. They don't have much time with her. Okay. Gal Gadot, or whatever you want to call Gal Gadot, she's perfect for Wonder Woman, dude. And if they do they think they have 15 years of that perfection? I don't think so. She got 5-10 years left to be looking like that. So I don't know. I think it's a Christmas movie, bro. It was for families. It was for a younger audience, I think. That's how I think.
What's weird though is it wasn't originally going to be a Christmas release, right? It was supposed to be April, May. It was supposed to be a big May movie. So it's almost coincidental that it ended up being a Christmas movie, even though it takes place during holidays.
It's my guess is this movie was PG. That's my guess. I don't even know.
There wasn't really anything in it to warrant a higher rating.
I just think that DC or whoever, they're doing it wrong, man. They're doing it wrong. I mean, you can keep Wonder Woman clean and you can keep her good, but she's a badass, and you need to make sure that the whole world knows she's a badass, because it's like their version of Cap or something, like truth and perfection and the you know what I mean, Captain America.
Yeah.
But Captain America, it's a totally different thing, dude. It's they really. Oh man, and then you have her armor, right? And we're like, oh, I'm stoked to see this like armor thing or whatever, and all it did, Cheetah just rips it to shreds.
Well, wait, is that armor something from the comics, or is that
I'm sure it is. I don't know. I don't read much Wonder Woman, to be honest. I'm a cover buyer on there, but I know she's a badass.
So I think I don't mind putting in those kind of things, the invisible jet, her learning how to fly, the gold costume, but the way they introduce them is so sloppy to me. There's like, oh, like 2 scenes before, oh, look at this. There's something in the corner of the room. What is that? Oh, it's a gold costume. Well, we'll forget about that for now. We'll come back to it. And then all of a sudden, here's her gold costume. Oh, and then she's like, oh, we're in a bind. We're in this jet. I wish we had an invisible jet. Oh yeah. Well, I was learning how to turn things invisible out of nowhere. Oh yeah. Well, let me just try. The last time I tried it was on a coffee cup. I'm going to make an airplane invisible now. And then it does it. I'm just like, it is so sloppy. I mean,
yeah, you could still see the cockpit and everything. I'm going to ask.
They should have started the movie like the first time you see her. They should have showed her experimenting with a coffee cup trying to make it disappear. Something.
That's smart. Like, you're right.
Just so it's not like in the moment. They're like, oh, you know what we really need? An invisible jet. Oh, guess what? I can do that. I mean, it's so sloppy. So yeah, it's just I don't know. It takes some of that. There's moments where they could be so creative and they don't.
That's what I'm saying. It was just a quickie. It was boring. It was just they tried to get another Wonder Woman out to match the success, and I think they failed. Let's hit some of these questions here. I agree with Ryan RJ Flo. I don't think we were the target audience for this film. Well, that was
why not? We're comic book fans.
But that's their mistake, Joel.
Yeah,
he's right. They were targeting a younger audience, maybe even more female audience. The buyers of this, the money makers, the spenders, are in an age group 35 to 55. They missed that mark.
Yeah. I think a lot of just movie fans in general want to see Wonder Woman being cool, being a badass. There,
yes,
it's not like people don't want to see that. So, of any age group, young and old, I'm sure they want to see Wonder Woman, doing what she does, kicking ass. And I saw somebody's comment. And I thought that that's correct too. It was very much.
You cut out for a second. You saw somebody's comment and what?
Oh, they were talking about how few action sequences there were. And I agree with that there were a surprising lack of action sequences, and it took a long time to get to them. I didn't think they were particularly entertaining. And also that it almost felt like they were going with that romantic 80s comedy setup instead of an action movie.
Yeah, I feel like they tried to dive in.
What they're trying to do, but
yeah, the cheetah CGI was terrible. I agree. 4th of July fireworks. So yeah, that was probably the target time. And then Christmas, of course, for when they were selling the DVD Blu-rays. That probably makes sense.
Yeah, or they just filmed that the final couple of seconds of that movie take place during Christmas. It's possible they just filmed that after the fact when they realized it would be a Christmas release.
Patty Jenkins, is that the one that directed this, Joel? I don't know.
Yeah. Right? Patty Jenkins directed the first one, and she directed this one, which was actually quite surprising to me because I felt like the first one had a lot of potential, and it did a lot of good things with that character and with the franchise. And this one, I just feel like was 2 steps backwards. So it was kind of shocking that it's the same director.
So, do you think which Star Wars movie? I don't know which one you're talking about, but either way, that scares me. I think everyone should stay away from Star Wars except Favreau, to be honest with you. Yes, I would take her anytime. I'm just talking about like for movies in general, like releasing on Christmas probably helped this film. Honestly, I don't think so because they're not going to make that much money on it. I don't think, because I think most of they had no real choice.
Well, I guess it depends. HBO would know, if they had a huge boost in subscribers or something, just for this film.
That armor was like ancient. It was built to hold off like everyone, and she just went right through it. The only suck part of this movie, was seeing Linda Carter for a second. But they even kind of made her weak. Oh, she said the same thing in the end credits where she holds a thing. Honestly, I'd rather see her come in and whip some ass for a little bit. Let's see here. But they didn't even make
what an opportunity they could have had to just have her come in and save the day just a quick second during some of that chaos or something. But no, they just use her for
Yes, Kimberly, once it was all over, then she was in Christmas and she saw the guy that Steve Soul was in, and he was wearing that dumb outfit. God, that's what I'm saying. It's stupid stuff, dude.
You know what also is really bizarre too is in the beginning at the mall sequence, there's a bunch of Santa stuff and Christmas stuff, and that she throws the girl into that giant teddy bear. so what was it, like Christmas and then all of a sudden 4th of July and then back to Christmas?
Oh, that's
I
interesting,
wonder if there was
Joel.
some kind of weird continuity error there where they it was supposed to be Christmas the whole time, and then there was the fire. I mean, fireworks are Christmas too, to a degree. So I don't know. It's strange.
I missed that. I'm gonna have to go back and look and see if it was Christmassy in that mall scene. I mean, in a mall though, there's teddy bears and stuff. I don't remember a bunch of Christmas decoration though.
But time didn't pass, right? So like, I guess because when they did the jet sequence, right, and they're up in the air and it's fireworks, the rest of the movie is just during that time. So unless I guess they want to say that ending sequence was many months later, but
yeah. Well, no, time did pass after it was over, and she saw that guy at Christmas time. But if you're saying the mall scene was Christmassy before July 4th, that's crazy. Joel, you're amazing. You're just the best critic ever. I was really disappointed. I was excited for the movie. It was okay. I think their target audience, I think this is the problem with DC, or well, AT&T or whoever has the reins now. The DC comic world is falling apart because of AT&T and the bigwigs, AT&T, the Warner Brothers. They're going a different route and they're making a mistake. The Joker movie did so well because they really didn't want to put their name on it. You only see DC like at the very end of that movie. They were afraid of that movie. And that movie killed because it was dark. And I'm not saying she needs to be dark, but it hit a whole nother place where people loved the thing. And this movie is this other direction they're going with different characters and a whole nother route to a whole nother audience, which is a mistake. Make sure to appeal to your original audience, the people who are 35 to 55, and then add the kid stuff in there for their kids so they can both enjoy it, like Mandalorian or whatever. You know what I mean? But this thing,
well, I think too a little bit has to do with perhaps the Batman v Superman and some of those ones where they were trying to go a little darker and it seemed to not catch on with audiences. So now they're probably going back and saying, well, look at, let's start making them a little lighter and more fun, like because Aquaman did well and those kind of things. So.
Ryan says that there were 4th of July stands in the mall. Did you notice how the criminals in the mall were just totally inept and stupid? Why? What is that about? Like in 1984, I think criminals were more hardcore than they are now.
Is it like the Home Alone where they're all like the wet bandits and just...
That's what it was, dude. It was so, I don't know. I didn't want to hate the movie, and I don't hate it. I think it's an enjoyable movie for Christmas with the family, I guess. But man, I mean, Christina, she loves the stuff like this. She was like, what is it? I said this movie is made for kids. She's like, yep. So it's a love story. Yep. Okay. Well,
I think it's a mistake too to make these action sequences so heavy on the CG. People are just flying through the air, Tarzan style, and it's more like the wushu Asian martial arts things. Everybody's just flying around, and it's I don't know. It loses a lot of the interest in the action sequences when they're so outlandish. And
well, unfortunately, Joel, that's the age we're in where everything's fake. I mean, that's why we love older movies, because everyone's in costume. They actually did the makeup. They have stuntmen, and and it's not all add-ons. I actually enjoyed the cheetah character way more than before she turned into the cheetah thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was her being a badass.
It was better before it became it was a weird wish to downgrade. She's like, oh, I'm just like Wonder Woman. Well, I don't want that anymore. I want to be crappier than Wonder. I want to be weaker than Wonder Woman. I want to be a half cheetah woman. So everybody was making weird wishes in that movie.
What also was interesting is if she wanted to be like Wonder Woman, she would have been like, if she truly took Diana's, she would be honest, truthful, helping people. She would have taken on those traits, I think, but she didn't. Don't you think? Maybe. Whatever, Joel.
What?
I think Joel's reading. What rating?
I was looking at some of those comments. But.
Let's see here. What rating? I hope you're all having a great Christmas too. I love you guys, and I really look forward to doing more movie reviews with you in the future, Joe, when we can get back in the theaters. That was a lot of fun. But what rating would you?
I'll give you, if you look at the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, the way they do the fight sequences are much more believable. I mean, maybe they're using, certainly there's maybe some wire work going on and whatnot, but the action sequences feel a little more grounded in, some sort of reality where people aren't flying around and they aren't, they're at least bound by certain rules of gravity and physics that exist in the world. So I prefer those kind of, even there's a sequence where Wonder Woman is fighting Cheetah in the White House, and that's an opportunity to do realistic choreography, fights, that kind of thing. But instead, she's using this lasso and just throwing everybody through the air. All the cheetah is flying around as if she's got wings.
There was a lot of lasso.
Yeah, it's such a unfortunate way to portray action, to make it that fake. And in my opinion, if I was in charge, I would try and say, look, let's make the action scenes a little more realistic. But obviously Wonder Woman can fly and she's invincible and she can run, and all these things that are superhuman. But not everybody else has to be that way. Or you can make the action sequences enhance her extraordinary abilities. There's a tank chase, car chase, where I think some of it they did quite well. There's a scene where she's hanging onto the side of the tank and she's pushing other tanks away and stuff. Those moments actually work pretty well. But when she's running alongside these tanks and, flying through the air and the lasso, all of that stuff just is so ridiculous to me that it really takes away from that enjoyment of those action sequences.
I just think they did those parts better in the first movie.
Sure. So in the first movie, there's a scene where, and it's also darker. It's wartime. It's a real war. It's World War II. There's a scene where they are trying to cross no man's land and nobody can get across. And I thought they did that scene pretty well, where she runs across this battlefield and is taking all the fire and everything, directing all the fire to her, to where the others can go over and basically storm the trenches on the other side. So something like that, I feel like they did that pretty well, as because she's super powered and overpowered and has all these abilities, but everybody else is grounded in reality. So I don't know, it's more fun, I think, when there's a little bit of a level of danger to some of the characters anyways.
Let's see here. There's a lot of things. The cheetah. What would you give the rating, Joel? 1 to 5 stars.
Well, I do out of 10. So I think this one I would probably do a 2 or a 3 out of 10. It's pretty low for me. And I mean, I like the Wonder Woman character. I really wanted to like this movie. I feel like they lost an opportunity to compound or take off of the first movie what people liked or what they thought they did well, and try and run with that. But here I feel like they took a couple steps back and really just almost ignored maybe a lot of the criticisms that a lot of people had.
Now, I don't think she can fly, dude. She just can jump really high, and then she kind of glides. And then she used her lasso like a propeller. Huh?
She was flying in this movie, wasn't she?
Well, yeah, she used her lasso for like a propeller. What I thought was interesting, though, was like she was using her lasso, or she was like riding lightning or whatever. And then but the thing is, what's weird is when she's gliding, because she is gliding, then all of a sudden did you see her do the Superman?
Yeah.
She did the Superman, and then she directed dives and stuff. Okay, dude, no. Why are you doing the Superman?
Not do that in the comics?
Why are you doing the Superman?
Oh,
that was definitely a shot to Superman. No, you can't. I don't think she can fly, dude.
I'm not sure, but yeah, no. The way they portrayed it in this film, she's exactly like Superman.
Yeah, but Superman doesn't even. Oh man, this has gone way too long already. This we usually try to do 10-minute reviews, but it is a Christmas. It is a Christmas
That's
special.
Also the first review we've done in 6 months.
Yeah, so we're gonna just really destroy this movie.
But I will say, just because we didn't like it, or a lot of critics did like it. So always, if it's something that you're interested in, go and see it yourself, and don't necessarily listen to all of the hate, and because there are some people that do enjoy these movies. So. I would never want to tell somebody don't go see the movie if it's something you're interested in.
Here's the thing, though, dude.
I didn't like about it.
It's 2020. They made that movie like it was 2000. The technology now to make, they could have made that movie 20 times better. And either that or they go back 20 years in tech to 1980s and make it 10 times better with
Yeah.
old tech. It's like they just, really feel like they gave up on this movie. I feel like it's a filler.
A lot of missed opportunity because there was so much potential there. Ideas they could have explored that they just didn't.
Yeah, it's a filler movie for me, dude. It's like, we'll see. Aquaman 2, what'll that be like? You know what I mean? Like, what will that be like? Because there was so much CG in Aquaman 1, but I enjoyed it. But watch, Aquaman 2 is going to be this weird. It's like, okay, here's some money to make this movie. And unless it's Batman, right? We're not pouring a bunch of money into it, or we're not going to do whatever. And again, I didn't hate the movie either, but I gotta say, like, if I was doing a 1 out of 5, I would say a 2. Like, I think almost all the movies were better than this one, and it does not touch Marvel. I don't care what anybody says. Look, I'm not a movie critic, but I've seen a hell of a lot of movies, dude, and Marvel craps on all these movies so far, except for the Joker. I still on the Joker side. And I'm really scared about this whole Schneider cut thing too. I thought Justice League was poo-poo. So now they're going to do this Schneider cut, and what's it going to be, an extra hour of poo-poo? What is
I've heard good things about it. I haven't seen it yet, but
what, and someone else said you said a lot of critics are saying good things. Dude, I'm going to tell you guys the truth.
yeah. Well, I was kind of shocked because other countries get to see the movie before us typically but a lot of critics in London and other places, they said, oh, it's captures the 80s and feels so much nostalgia and just love it. And I thought, what? I didn't get any of that nostalgia, and I grew up in the 80s, and I don't know. It's just, I feel like it wasn't the same as Bill pointed out. It's like Stranger Things. When you watch Stranger Things, you're like, oh man, I'm there. But
that's the first thing I thought when I saw it.
This one, it didn't grab me like that, and I didn't feel the nostalgia that I really should have.
They missed that mark there, and then everything. I don't know. They missed the whole thing. It was just like a growing love story for Wonder Woman. The whole thing was. I'm glad I got to see a superhero movie, but I was let down. That's about the best.
Yeah, I hope it does well so that they can keep doing them, but. Yeah, we'll see.
I think AT&T is the worst thing to ever happen to DC, ever, and Warner Bros. I think it's the worst. I like AT&T for my phone, but I think they're destroying everything. They're destroying.
They need their own Jon Favreau, somebody who has like a vision that the fans really get behind, who can be in charge of all that stuff.
Dude, Disney can come. This is the thing. Disney buys Marvel, and they make the best movies, dude. Like, it's for a kid, but the adult feels there too. Why can't AT&T? Don't they have enough power, or do they not care?
Yeah, my brother was telling me about something he was reading about the way Marvel has constructed their MCU or whatever, and one of the reasons that a lot of people, like some people analyze it, and one of the reasons they do so well, at least with kind of a cohesive vision for all their films, even though they're all totally different superheroes and totally different directors and stories and planets and whatnot, is because of that Kevin Feige. He is kind of overseeing, like he doesn't direct the movies, but he kind of makes sure that all of them have that same feel, have that same sort of style to some degree, that they have a little bit of cohesion. And DC doesn't have that. They don't have somebody that's kind of overlooking everything. And now Star Wars does with Jon Favreau. He's going to be the Kevin Feige of Star Wars, where he's going to make sure that all the Star Wars properties kind of have some kind of cohesion.
I hope he's involved with everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they already said he's in charge now.
Well, I know that Lucas was we're moving off topic, but yeah, like there's just, why can't they get on board with making good movies? It's like there's just two totally different ideas on how to make a movie. A superhero movie. dude. I don't get it.
No, I mean, they're experimenting. They're trying.
They keep doing the same thing, Joe. They're not changing anything. They keep doing the same thing. Poop.
Well, like you said, though, this one, it feels like they're trying to maybe target a younger audience, and whereas the first one, it wasn't really. It's not, super violent or anything, but it wasn't exactly aimed toward kids at all. Whereas this one's much more wholesome, I guess, and family friendly.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. I mean, overall, it was a Wonder Woman movie. It wasn't as good. I didn't think it was good as the first. I was hoping for better because I enjoyed the first. I think they did a good job, reasonably good job on it. Like I said, I guess I'll do out of 10 like you, Joel. So I'll give it a 3 out of 10, I guess. You said 2?
Yeah, 2 or 3. If I'm being real generous, a 3. But... It's Christmas. I give it that extra.
No, get out of here.
Grinch. We'll take 2 out of 10.
And we really appreciate you guys hanging out for a little bit.
We don't want to listen or happy holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate.
Exactly. Merry Christmas to all you guys, and hopefully we can get back to reviews next year, probably mid next year sometime or something. I don't know.
The opportunity's there if they just keep everything streaming. It'll be, we can still keep watching stuff.
And they told me if I get to 10,000 subs, I can be a movie critic like Joel. They told me the people from Marvel.
As cool as me, but
well, I could have a little certificate or whatever. Do they get a certificate?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure they give me one.
They put a little mark on your driver's license. It says
motorcycle F for film critic. Anyway, thanks so much, Joel, and
thanks for having me back.
Merry Christmas. See ya.